Hello, I want to share my impressions and everything that happened to me with the Fanatec CSLDD. Although at first the impressions were very good and I really liked the steering wheel, I also thought it was of quality. I had a good impression of this because of everything that YouTubers and users talk about this product. At first it seems that the steering wheel is working fine, but there is another darker part of the story, and that is that there are many people who are complaining a lot about disconnections. Discussions about how this piece here should be placed. Yes, this famous piece that you have to squeeze it as if you were a titan, as if you were a god of Olympus. For me it is a piece that is poorly thought out and poorly constructed. Why? Because after 2 months of use I have started to have continuous disconnections. In the middle of a race it would disconnect, and depending on the game in which I was competing, I cannot connect it again, and if I do, it is already too late because you have to go to the menu, configure the steering wheel, return to the race and you are already lost. What is the solution to prevent this from happening? In this video I am going to give you a solution that worked well for me, but it is not easy to do and you must have a certain skill to do it. No, you cannot do this on a day when you are in a hurry because you have to do it very precisely, or else it will not work. Or it can do the opposite and make it work poorly. The first thing to do is buy the appropriate accessories. No, this is not valid. This tightens efficiently on this side because it has room to tighten, but on this other side, this clamp is so rigid that it does not compress no matter how much I tighten. Fanatec, you could have already solved this. What does it cost to make this in metal? Plastic? Seriously? This has given me many headaches, many disconnections, until I changed this piece and put a steel stopper ball in it. It did not solve it. I tightened the clamp to the point that I thought it was going to burst, over thread. Afterwards it was difficult for me to remove it. I tried tightening it less and tightening it more, and it didn't work. To the important thing. First, the tools we need for the arrangement. We are going to need a vernier caliper. It is not essential if you are skilled with other gauges, a punch to mark iron. Instead you can use a 4mm drill bit to make the first hole, and make a mark on the mast inserted into the shaft. Buy a clamp. It's not very expensive. It cost me €11 I think I remember. We also need a 6mm steel ball, 5 and 5mm metal drill bits, another 6mm metal drill bit, and any drill or you can use a Dremel. And with these tools I began the epic of making a repair in the Fanatec engine. I removed the steering wheel as the Fanatec instructions say because, when I loosened the clamp I realized that the plastic shaft cannot handle the weight of the steering wheel with the risk of breaking. It's hard for me to remove the clamp because I tightened it as far as I could and now it's hard to remove it. Now I remove the mast or outer axis. I see that, when I remove it some small chips fall out. This was about to break. Well, here is the clamp that was not doing its job properly. After removing everything I take measurements of the thickness of the shaft that is attached to the motor, the wonderful plastic shaft. I don't know how to use this. Yes, I know how to use this. After adjusting it I measure the thickness of the shaft. It's 4mm. Now we mark the center where the drill will go with the marker, and with the 5 and 5mm drill bit we make the drill there. We see the plastic chips. Then with the 6mm drill bit we do a quick review of the drill, without many passes with the drill bit, so that the ball enters just. I insert the mast back and now use the punch to make a mark. Center well. It is very important that the mast is well centered, and tight against the plastic shaft so that there is no looseness in the steering wheel, that it's what we don't want to happen. I go to the table where I have everything ready and at the mark I made on the mast, I start drilling very carefully, gently, without pressing too much at first and leaving a hole where the ball is housed, with the 6mm drill bit, which is the thickness of the steel ball. When you apply pressure it is important not to go anywhere because it will not tighten afterwards. We need there to be no looseness. With the pressure we will ensure that all the pieces are well fixed. I review when I see that it doesn't go deep enough. 2mm have to go here. The ball measures 6mm, the shaft is 4mm thick. To make sure that everything is correct, I measure the thickness of the neck, and I see that it has a thickness of 22 millimeters. Therefore with the ball it should measure 26 millimeters. I measure with the caliper with the ball included and it gives us about 27. There is to review. When we have everything ready, we begin assembly. Now we can insert the mast. We insert the ball that fits quite snugly and now we place the screws and tighten them little by little before tightening everything. I confirm that the openings of the clamp are aligned with the openings of the plastic shaft. It is still important because that is where the force is exerted. Now with this clamp it will make a more uniform force. A little bit of transparent grease. This grease doesn't get dirty. You have to apply very little. I remove the factory grease with my hands when handling the parts. You can also use Vaseline or similar. Finally I put everything in its place and check that everything works correctly. Now you may wonder, has the ball invention worked? Yes, it has worked and very well. Not a millimeter or half a millimeter has separated. One piece is glued to another and there is no problem. I have already participated in many races and there was no problem, no disconnection, but I had to do the repair. Instead of buying a well-finished product, you have to take into account several things. If your steering wheel is old and no longer has a warranty, you risk little, but if it is under warranty as is the case with me, you risk the warranty being voided. I have seen that there are people who have used this 2-screw, 2-piece clamp and with that alone they have solved the problem. I suppose it depends a lot on your luck, or how the pieces react to each other. Small variations in manufacturing. For me, this way of introducing a stop with a ball is the most effective way against disconnections in this model, which has a USB-C as a connection from the steering wheel to the motor. Seeing all the problems I have had, I would not recommend this model of steering wheel to anyone. A steering wheel that has a plastic piece, where it holds the engine and where it makes all the torque and all the force and holds all the weight of the steering wheel. And if the concern that piece that comes from the engine, that shaft is made of, seems like an exaggeration to you, plastic, which supports all the force and all the weight of the steering wheel, plus the quick release, which is also heavy. Look at this photograph. As you can see, the plastic can break. Fanatec, it is not free. We have paid for it. Don't we also deserve to be given something according to what we have paid? We pay for a brand. We have paid for something that should work well. Now, we just have to hope that this thing doesn't break and that it lasts as long as possible. I hope you liked the video and that it has been useful to you. Greetings. Goodbye.